Okay, now we're going to take a little closer look at even more the layers panel and what we can do with layers and manage them. First, I'm going to go to File, New, and I'm just going to create another 10 by 8 inch image with a resolution of 300 dpi, and just click OK, and have that pull up. And now under the layers, we have a few other options. You notice the fill, which is grayed out right now. So we're going to have to actually create a couple of layers in order to show you that. But I'm just going to create a simple shape, which is just going to be a box. I'm also going to pull out my layers panel just a little bit. Right mouse click in the area over here and rasterize this layer. And that way we're not working with any masks or anything. I'm going to double click on our shape and open up our layer style options. I'm just going to go ahead and add a drop shadow, up the opacity just a little, the distance, a little bit of the size, and I'm also going to throw on a bevel and emboss, and then click OK. And now we can see that we also have this fill right underneath opacity. And if I drag that down, you'll see that it starts removing the color of the shape and the actual shape itself. But we still have our style left over. So that's a neat little trick you can do to pull down just the opacity of your actual layer, but keep your shapes intact. What we also have too is if you have shapes and styles activated on a layer, you can either compress that, expand it over here on the right, where we have this little F, and that means that there's a style on it. And we can also turn the effects on and off from within here, and specific effects, drop shadow, bevel and emboss, within the layers panel. I'm going to go ahead and delete this really quick, because there's a few other things we can do too. I'm just going to create a bunch of different shape layers, just a bunch of boxes. And as you can see, we have quite a few layers here. And now let's say we want to merge this down or merge this into one layer. Well, normally what we could do is, with the top layer selected, hold down Shift and select the bottom layer, and then hit Control E. And then that will merge together all of our different layers that we have selected. I'm just going to Control Z to undo that. But we can go up to our layer panel up here and see that we can merge layers, which is Control E. We can merge visible. So in other words, if I have some of these turned off, I could go up here to Layer, Merge Visible, and now it's going to merge all of our visible layers, and then our hidden layers are still individual. So that's kind of a neat little management we have there. And we feel few other options here too, which is Flatten Image. Let's say we just want to create this all into one layer. What we can actually do is what we want in that available layer would have to be shown. So we're not going to do this, these top two boxes here, top two layers, and I'm going to go to Flatten Image and discard the hidden layers, which are going to be these top two, and click OK. And now we have just one layer with all of those different shapes, and it can be a lot easier when you're editing to just start flattening your images towards the end if you know you're not going to be editing them anymore. Otherwise, preserve them, maybe take a snapshot in your history, and that'll help that. And we have a few other options actually under the layer here where we can do a new fill layer. And we can select a solid color, a gradient, or a pattern. And I'm just going to select solid color really quick. Give the layer a color, click OK. And you can see the color picker comes up. We can go ahead and select a color that we want and click OK. And now we have a layer that's just that color. And you can see it works as a mask, just like a shape. So we can right mouse click and rasterize that if we need to into just sort of a normal shape layer. And we can also go back to layer and do another fill layer. We could do a gradient if we wanted to, and then select from preset or create our own if we want to by double clicking on the actual gradient. We could also add patterns that way, and we also have adjustment layers that we can add, which I showed you earlier by going down to the bottom down here. These are our adjustment layers as well, but we can also access them up on top to the layer panel. And there's also a few other options you can go through here, and the best way is just sort of play around with it and see what you get out of it.